All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first Free Friday coaching call of 2026. So excited to see so many faces. For those of you that aren't on camera yet, we don't care where you are, what you look like, if you brushed your teeth. We want to see your face. Love to get some human engagement if possible, as long as it's safe to do that. Feel free to come on camera. No one's judging you for what you do or don't look like. And I'll say that I am super excited for our call today. For those of you that may be jumping on here for the first time, my name is Casey Council Jiha, as you can see in the little box on Zoom here, and I came into the real estate industry at the end of 2004. I got licensed, so oh my goodness, 21 years ago. And I always say the best thing the real estate industry gave me in my career was my husband, my late husband, Rick Jiha. Many of you knew him. And that's how these calls came about is by the time he passed away in 2023, he had celebrated 43 years in the industry. He was a top producing agent at a top producing team, at one point owned 9 real estate franchises. He was a very much sought after speaker, trainer, and coach, and did that nationally and internationally in some cases. And so he would give his phone number out everywhere he went. And he would say, if you ever need anything, you just call me. I know that he actually did that because I got his phone when he passed, and there was over 36,000 contacts in his cell phone. And so he created this call several years ago as a one-to-many conversation to be able to help the mindset and the skill sets for real estate agents to continue to succeed and progress in not just their businesses, but in their lives. Like, our main focus is really improving the lives and businesses of everyone that we serve. And so in his passing in 2023, we committed to keep this conversation going and to bring in some of the most inspiring people that are, anywhere from newer in the industry doing great things to more veterans and seasoned in the industry, here to share what they've learned so that you can stand on the shoulder of giants and learn and grow faster than you would otherwise in an environment where people are not collaborating and sharing freely the way that we are here. And so I'm super grateful for our guest that's on today's call. She did say before you got on that she was making a huge exception because she is on vacation. And so I am going to say right out of the gates, thank you for taking an hour for us on your vacation. And I'm really excited, not just for the people that are here live, but we have over 900 people on an email list that have asked for recordings of these calls after they happen due to the value that gets shared here within the conversation. So the woman that we have today, I will, there are things that can be really hard to attach to, right? So we can go, okay, she's done 925 million in sales volume in her 10-year career in real estate. That's pretty impressive. And some of you, if you're newer in the business or you haven't done even a fraction of that, might go, oh, immediately now I feel disconnected because that's something too big that I can't see. I'm going to ask you if you're having that experience to reel it back in, because everyone starts in the same place in this business, which is at ground zero. Everyone starts in the same place in this business, which is at ground zero. And I remember the first time that I saw her, it was on a stage in Cabo at an annual real estate event that we attend every year. And she was one of the speakers. And I was sitting next to my late husband, Rick. And I looked at him and I'm like, she is a freaking badass. Like, amazing. Her history before real estate, which we're going to learn a little bit about, but her warrior spirit to rise at like non-negotiably, how does not matter how far she's fallen, and she's fallen multiple times. Her commitment to rise and rise and rise in the evolution of who she is, I mean, it gives me goosebumps when I think about it. So I am super grateful for you taking an hour out of your vacation, Gail, to be with us today. We're going to touch on a couple of key topics. Number one, how you built the business that you did. Number two, what happened when life changed and now you moved to Florida and you're not in California and you're starting over, and that journey. And then number three, we're going to touch on how you've utilized YouTube as an asset to really grow and expand your business, which now is not just located to one singular market. But before we jump into those things, we're going to back up a little bit, and I want to welcome you to the call. And for those of you that may be meeting, for those people on the call that may be meeting you for the first time, we want to get your story of what you were doing before real estate and why you got into real estate, and tell us kind of that early journey.
Well, first, before I even go there, I just want to celebrate you, Casey, because man, like I really loved getting like emotional here. First of all, I would take the whole week off if you asked me. I would do anything for Casey because Rick was somebody really special. Not only was he special, he always was the best dresser in the entire universe. When he had that charismatic, and he always made you feel like you were the only one when he was talking to you. So many times I'll be talking to people and they check out or I check out. Right? So that's a gift when somebody really makes you feel like you are important, right? Because so many times in our life, you know, we do think, like I remember, like I was just at EXP Miami and I was sitting there in front of, Brent was speaking and Elizabeth Riley and Jean Frederick and, um, you know, uh, Freeman. I mean, just like incredible people. And then you feel small. Don't feel small, okay? Because there is one God and God loves us all the same. And we all start with nothing, we'll end with nothing, right? So my entire journey is powered by people like Rick and people like Casey. And I didn't think I could love anybody more than Rick, but I love Casey. If not, she shines so bright that there's very few people you could dim their light, and she's one of them. So thank you for having me here. I really appreciate that. My journey is pretty simple, right? I used to think it was a special journey, but it's not because I meet so many people with way bigger problems than mine, way, bigger obstacles, way bigger challenges. And I think, when I got into real estate, never in my life did I ever want to do that, ever. My dad was a real estate attorney, okay, in New York, and grew up at that. My mom used to illegally sell real estate, didn't have a license. Anybody who was Filipino, she'd sell them a house, right? So it was like, never wanted to do that. I was a photographer, traveled the world. I did everything from weddings to celebrities. That was like wonderful. And I literally got thrown off a horse. One of my horses couldn't use my right hand for 2 years, had three operations on it. And one of the people that I was canceling their photo session said to me, Gail, have you ever thought about real estate? He goes, you should be a realtor. At that time, my husband had left. I had 22 horses and I couldn't, had a truck and transfer of horse hay coming and I had no way to pay for it. So when you get your back against a wall, and I'll never forget that day because the truck was coming, I'm like, fuck, how am I going to pay for this shit? I was looking around, what can I sell? I was on my 20-acre ranch that I was going to go into foreclosure, and things were really dim. And my favorite movie is Gone with the Wind. When Scarlett O'Hara is like, grabs something, she's like, I will never be broke again, ever, right? And I was bawling, crying, and praying to God, go, God, help me out here, show me the way. What should I do here? So, the rest was history. So when I got into real estate, I had no money. My first year, I was negative 24,000 because I did all the wrong stuff. Nobody would help me. This is one of the reasons I love the EXP community. It could be EXP, it could be Sotheby's, whatever community you create, right? That's what it is. But I've always had my whole life, and I suck as a Christian. I got to tell you, like I'm ashamed sometimes. I'm like, I try, but I know that God has a plan for me, and I know that my whole word this year, I'm very very lucky to be coached by some amazing people. My this year is faith. So anyway, let me fast forward because I don't want to waste everybody's time, so I can give you some really good tactical things you can do. So had no money, and you're fu- well, actually, it was the first year. I remember I just thought in real estate, you show up. It's like a job, right? You go there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you leave at, 5, 6 o'clock at night. I just thought I did that. So I worked at Remax and I went in there. There's 279 agents, and there's only one other person every day that would show up. It was me and Carly Carlson. She was an amazing agent and she was mean. She wouldn't share. She wouldn't tell me anything about what she did. So I basically asked Steve Davies, who was the broker there, I said, I want that office next to her. And it had no window. He goes, it's dark. There's no window. There's furniture. I got to move it all out. He goes, why do you want that? I said, I just put me in there. And I was on a team that I learned nothing from, right? And so I'd get in there and I'd put my cup every morning and I'd listen on her wall. Seriously, and I listened to her like with these, hi, this is Carla Carlson. Um, I noticed your house came off the market, and I actually specialize in homes that didn't sell the first time, and I'll be picking up a lockbox 2 o'clock tomorrow. Would you mind if I just stopped over and kind of gave you my humble opinion and how I think your house can sell? Because I am shocked it didn't sell. So I was like, what is that? So anyway, I got into coaching. She wouldn't tell me what it was. And tried Tom Ferry, ended up in Mike Ferry. Okay. So then I was just dialing and dialing and grinding and grinding. And let me tell you, that was not fun because my very first phone call, the guy answered. And I ended up getting almost $4 million in listings. And what happened was when he answered, I was like, what? First I hung up. I was so nervous, I hung up the phone. And I'd never been in $1 million home. Okay. For me, except for the one I was losing, right? And it was just like a little old ranch style beazer home in 20 acres. And then, long story short, he was Nick Sadek's client. Okay. That's how Nick and I got together because he said I was going to go with Nick Sadek. He said, but I'm building 4 homes here. And right next door, I shot a lot of weddings at Arden Hills Country Club. So I knew that area. So I said, what if I could get this guy, Nick Sadek? He now owns 3 Sotheby's. Nick is still my very best friend to this day. What if I can get him to hire me? Because he's like, I would go with Nick, but he has 27 listings and I'll get no attention. He goes, so I'm going to go with this girl, Joey Aronson. I'm like, well, what? You want Nick? I said, why would you want to go with Joey? What if I can get him to hire me? And then I'll make sure we could promote and you get all the attention you need. He's like, he probably thought, yeah, that'll never happen. He said, okay, kid. So anyway, long story short, Nick hired me. I was his very first agent. And timing is everything, people. His father was in the hospital dying, right? And he wanted to spend some time. So I went and I worked for him. And I told Nick, he goes, well, what do you want me to pay you? I said, I don't care. I go, how about we just do 50-50, right? And I did that for years. And I was grateful for 50%. You know why? Because he was Mr. Miyagi. It was like wax on, wax off. He never said, hey, Gail, he would give me his phone every once in a while and say, hey, I got a lead on your call. I'm like, Nick, they bought a house 4 months ago. So he was very, very organized. I want you to think about this. If you are in a place, I mean, if you want to be a track star, are you going to go to high school? You're going to go to Stanford, right? You're going to find the very best person that you could surround yourself because eagles fly with eagles, right? So and Nick never really, he will tell you to this day, he goes, he used to have to call me at 8 o'clock at night. Why are you still there? Go home. I had a daughter. I had lost my house during this whole thing, and I had to go rent a house. And I was like, how the fuck am I going to retire? I was 57 years old. I'll be 69 this year, people. I'm like, what? So I knew. So I went into my accountant's office and I said to him, I didn't even have an account. I said, I need a money guy. So I found this Mormon family, phenomenal, Truman and Tuttle and Weston. I still am with them. And he goes, Gail, you need to save $7,000 a month in order to have $1 million in the next 10 years. I went in, I bawled, I hyperventilated, I almost choked on my spit in the parking lot. I was like, I'm going to be freaking homeless. I'm not going to ever be that way with my kids. I cannot. And let me tell you, people, I take care of my mom. It cost me $12,000 a month, 10 to 12 because of her nurses. Ileostomy bags, which I just got off, IVs, 1,200, all kinds of shit. So I'm, that wasn't even in the picture then, right? So anyway, I prayed and I started saving $10,000 a month. How did I do it? I freaking called every single day. And you know what? Until I loved it. And then people, sometimes I would call, like, there's a guy, his name is Trent. Okay. And Trent is an amazing agent. You guys know him. He's a big guy in Placerville, one of the top agents. He's like, yeah, what you do is so hard. And I go, Trent, sit down. Let's sit down. Let's do it together. My very second phone call, they're like, nah, we don't want to sell. I said, do you have any neighbors you want to get rid of? I do. And I said, their teenager drives crazy and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, give me their phone number. We went over there and bam, get the listing. I just did a live, somebody was really, really torn up. I've been featured a lot in this guy, Mike Sherrard's channel. And this woman called me up. She goes, I don't even know how I'm going to pay. I don't even know how I'm going to pay my mortgage after 2 months. She goes, I don't know what to do. I said, what are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of talking to people? Because you know what it is? You make it about you. When you make it about them, like, how can I serve you? How can I serve you? Right? So I swear to God, I was doing live. I had my assistant here. This was only 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. So she called me. She's crying. I said, watch me do it. So we get on the phone. Boom. I swear, God is so good. Very first phone call. It was expired December 14th. I called her December 15th. And I just happened to have a YouTube buyer in town. And they were like, we're not, so it was an older couple, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I sat in their living room at 6 o'clock that night. The very next day, I bought my YouTube buyer who was here visiting for Christmas. I represented both sides of it, and it turned out to be a $28,000 phone call because I'm closing that in February 2nd. So I'm closing that February 2nd. And it was like 28 grand for me picking up a phone call to show an agent. So, I will tell you, it's one of those things. I've reached my goals, okay? But now I'm like, I have bigger goals. What are my goals now? My goals are, and at the end of the day, when I left California, I just did my numbers, and Tom knows, Mark your
Okay, hold
brain
on.
knows.
Hold on. I'm gonna pause you for a second before you go California to Florida.
Yeah.
Because I want to recap some of the things that you've said. So number one, it was 12 short years ago when you went, and
13.
13 now.
Yeah.
13 years ago. And so for anybody that is right now at a
Yeah.
precipice in your life, you are at a precipice in your life at that point in time based on your circumstances. And a lot of people will look at being a precipice as a negative thing. And in my experience, a precipice is a gift because it has people call forth things they would never call forth within themselves and be willing to be open to things that they would never be open to before and be willing to personally evolve and doing things that are hard and challenging and uncomfortable to get off of that precipice, right? So if that's where you're at right now, number one, we want to shift your mindset to like being at a precipice is not a bad thing at all. It can be an incredible gift, right? So 13 years ago, you're at a precipice, and then you
Right.
very early on understood the importance of surrounding yourself with great people and having
Right.
mentors that were going to teach you what there was for you to do. And so
Right.
you made your way into finding that, right? But there's a really important thing about your mindset that I want to make sure that everyone is highlighted. You have a mindset that is solution oriented, and you're not looking at the obstacles and challenges. You're looking at the how do we get into solution around that, right? So
Right.
from that call that you picked up to that expired that didn't sell and saying that you're going to be in the neighborhood picking up a lockbox and love to stop by and give your opinion on that. That is a solution oriented conversation. You're not asking for the listing. You're getting into solution about how can I be in a conversation and get in front of that person. For the one that
Right.
you call that's like, yeah, well, I would work with Nick, but he's going to be too busy for me. Your mindset is solution oriented, and it goes immediately to how do I align with that person so that I can get this business, right? And
Right.
make that happen. And then that was your next step. And so now you've got the mentoring and the experience that you got from that piece of it. So I always say that success leaves clues, and that if one can do it, anyone can do it. There's like, if one can, anyone can, which means that you can too, right? So, literally, for any of you right now that might be newer or new in real estate or kind of just like in the new season of your real estate career, if 13 years later we're down the road and we're looking at one, which would be Gail, 925 million in sales later within
With
13
no
years
Zillow. No Zillow.
with no Zillow. If one can, you can, if that's what you want, right? If that's what you want. And so I
Right.
think there's so much to be. I wanted to make sure and anchor the points of your story so that people can see and relate. Like, people are people, right? And what creates success is the ways that people think, and because the ways that people think will dictate the action that they go take, and actions over time and long enough time turn into behavior, which is why now because you've done that behavior and those actions over time, you can have someone say, you can sit someone down and say, no, come listen to me make this call and pick up the phone and have that conversation, because you have trained yourself to do that. And then like in anything, right? When we learn great things naturally and we create our own success, the majority of people are looking at how can I pay it forward and how can I help others,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
In this like whole transition and story. So I wanted to highlight those pieces of the story that you've shared so far before we get into the California and Florida story.
Yeah.
Because for those of you that are taking notes, and if you're not taking notes or making notes, maybe there's a couple of things that you want to make notes on and have in sticky notes so that you've got those reminders in front of you. Like the things that are important for me, I've got in sticky notes. They're like right here. So every day when I see them, I just need to glance down and go, oh, those are the things that I want to burn in my brain. Okay. Oh, look at Mark's got neon sticky notes. I love it. So Gail, okay, you're about to talk about going from California to Florida. I'd love for you to talk about the personal reasons why that happened and then how the business transition happened with that.
Yes. So when I was turning 65 years old, I knew that everyone's like, you got to move to a different state. I didn't want to go to Puerto Rico, whatever, because I didn't want to give 10%. And I was sick of California, to be honest. So I couldn't insure my place anymore. I ended up buying a new place. There was no fire insurance. So I thought, let me buy myself a home in California and I mean, in Florida. And I looked for 2 years, like every other realtor. I looked. So, and I thought, okay, I'll rent it out. And a couple years from now, I'll retire there. I'm never going to retire. I'll just tell you that because I love this too much. And I bought my mom a house down there too. Long story short, she got colon cancer and really was like went overnight sick. So she could not even like, take a shower, couldn't do anything. It was like having triplets, IV poles, diaper bags, sippy cups, walkers, wheelchairs. And I found myself for the first time having to put my family first. And I'll tell you what, for me, here I am leaving the number one team in El Dorado Hills. Well, actually in the Tri-Counties, right? We had the number one team. I have people on here that will attest to that. And it was easy for me because a lot of people had spent so much money on Zillow leads and I'd spent money on branding. Okay. So everybody knew everybody, not nude, but everybody knew Turner DeMarco Friedman, Jay Friedman, Val Turner, myself. We had commercials, all that. And it was all of a sudden, what? And then there's five of us, five siblings, my family. And right now I'm not talking to two of them because they are worthless because nobody would step up. And I have two other siblings that are pretty sick. So I was like, oh shit, that's me. And I thought it would be short. I didn't know it was going to be over 2 years. So the first year, I really didn't do a whole lot, right? I think I did, excuse me. I think did about 20, I don't know, maybe $26,000 in 26 million in sales. And they were mostly from hospital rooms, because I spent 52, my mom been in the hospital 17 times in 2 years. When I left, I had done personal production, 100, and believe me, the girl that tracks this, she's like a ninja, 105,972. It was 118 transactions. And that was a pretty good living. That's how I was able to buy my house, my mom's house, and my team did almost 400 million. We had 8 people on our team. So that was, I mean, and here's it. I demand excellence. If somebody's going to work with me, you're coming in to the office at 8 o'clock and you're going to be generating, if you don't do 5 million a quarter, you cannot be on my team because I want what I have for me, I want for you. But here's my biggest lesson, Casey. We cannot want more for people than they want for themselves. We can't, like I know everybody on this call can do it, and I will hold your hand and make a phone call with you. I will put that offer out for you, but I can't force you. So I just closed out this year. This year, let's see, I have to add this up. So I did 39 million and then 5 million 5 million, almost 6 million in referrals. So a little bit over like 44, 45 million this year. How do they do it? So all of a sudden, and I don't buy Zillow leads. I do not buy Realtor.com. I don't buy any leads. Okay, so I come here, nobody knows me, right? I have no branding, no recognition, nothing. So all you people that have kids, right? I mean, you have such a great opportunity. Well, me, I have 6 grandkids. So what would I do? I'd take my mother, put her in a wheelchair, and take her for a walk. And I got more listings on that walk, right? Because she is British. She loves to talk to everybody. So I just start. So when I got my first listing, I really marketed it, right? When I say that, so now in my mom's little neighborhood of 450 homes, it's an over 55, which is 5 minutes from my house. I've just completed my 34th transaction. Okay, 34 transactions. And I got to tell you, there is an opportunity. And you know what? So I come here, I got an ego, right? And we all have egos. You're all full of shit if you say you don't, because you don't, it's certain things you will say and certain things you want people to know and certain things you don't want people to know about you. I didn't want people to know, even when I was getting a divorce, I was a wedding photographer. I didn't want people to know I'm getting a divorce. It's like being an alcoholic in a bar, for me. There was just like, ah. So I didn't want to accept the fact that all of a sudden I have this new niche market and it's the over 55. Well, guess what? Because I had to do when I got here, I'm not going to go, God, I hope my phone rings because my phone's not going to ring. Okay. So I just really prayed hard to go, okay, God, what do I do? So we are like doctors, people. Okay. We're like doctors. You could put me at UC Davis. If you're a great doctor, you could be at UC Davis or Mayo Clinic and do the same freaking surgery, right? So you have the skill set. How do you let people know you have it? Well, obviously, open houses, right? And when I do an open house, it's a little bit different. That's a whole nother story. But, at the end of the day, it was like, I do a SWOT analysis. SWOT. You guys know what that means? That is so important. What is your strength? The strength is I've been a listing agent. I can sell, I can market, and I can serve, right? What is my weakness? I don't know anybody. Nobody knows me. I don't even know the friggin' neighborhoods here. I get lost going to the supermarket. What is the opportunity? So the opportunity is I'm in the #1 school district in Florida. That's why I picked this. It's the El Dorado Hills. So I'm like, oh, okay. So #1 school district, a lot of relocation, a ton of relocation. And what is the threat? The threat were the interest rates. Okay, DeMarco, what do? I'm going to look for cash buyers. That's what I'm going to focus on, cash buyers. People don't aren't waiting for the interest rates to go down. People that don't worry about, I got to wait till my value goes up. So it was the over 55. I just have it on paper, over 55 and second home luxury buyers. So I created a YouTube channel. Okay. And now I'm ready to create my second YouTube channel, which I'm super excited about because now I know shit. Before, I was paying people a lot of money to do stuff that they really didn't do. And then I forget. So now I know. So with 78, almost 79,000 followers on my YouTube, and you don't need a lot. Like I have right after this, taking my son to the airport, and then I'm coming back and I'm going to do 2 Zoom calls with YouTube buyers. So, here's the thing. The most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind. And that was me. I was like, I don't want to get on YouTube. I mean, this is great. Who I was a photographer for 25 years. I was behind the camera. I don't want to be in front of the camera. Don't want to do that, right? And I cannot stand watching people's Instagrams with all their, fake filters and all that kind of crap. So luckily I got the Filipino gene, so I don't really Asian don't raisin. I don't have a lot of cracks, but it does show, right? But and then I was like, okay, DeMarco, your ego, get rid of it. Just like I was never really a luxury agent. I sold a Lennar home for $1,000,004. We just live in a luxury price point. So it wasn't like sell all these, yeah, Nick sells a lot of these big mansions. But I learned a lot when I worked with Nick. And I said, no lockbox, no life. Do I really want that? Right. So I figured here. So the first thing I did was I found the #1 luxury agent that was and I found EXP just happened to be great. Right. Because who's going to co-list with me? Who's going to co-list with me? Because I can get an expired, not a problem. Right. I can get an expired. I just need to be able to walk in and talk about seawalls because now I'm on the ocean. I don't know about seawalls. I don't know about grandfathering all the. So I found that EXP agent. I said, how about this? So Brent actually put us together, Brent Gove. And this is one of the kindest guys. He's still my partner. I just bring luxury things to him. We split it 50-50, and it's done. I send out, I actually just got one back. I send out, and they usually are beautiful to all my expireds. This is, this one just came back, so I get to open it up. So I have a really nice luxury book that I send out with a nice little letter printed on this silver paper, which I'm happy to share with anybody. And then it talks about me, my sales, and I guess it just talks. So I basically do everything with the EXP luxury. And I'll tell you what, this has worked really good. Mailing works. I also do some other mailers that have been phenomenal, some not so phenomenal, but the way that sorry,
Yep. While you're grabbing that mailer, I want to recap a couple of things.
yeah,
So, for anybody that missed it, SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And when you're looking at that, and if you want to catch that on the replay, this is being recorded if you want to go into, catch that again. But so you went from a market where you knew nobody
correct.
to being introspective, doing a SWOT analysis on yourself, getting a
Hmm.
very clear avatar and demographic, which
Right.
is going to be a 55 plus cash buyer. So you get rid of the threats and there's your opportunity. Recognize like what are you in the business of? We're in the business of talking to people and matching them with what they're looking for and
Mhm.
helping people get what they want. And that doesn't matter if you're in California doing that or if you're in Florida doing that. And so then you brought in technology on the YouTube side of things to get you an audience. And then you followed that up with these
Yeah.
pieces that you're talking about. So after you show us that piece, I want to back up a little bit. And for somebody that is not on YouTube, that is going to maybe start or launch something, what are the things that you learned that could help somebody accelerate their learning curve on that to actually generate and bring business? So go back to the marketing piece that you were grabbing, though.
Sure. Well, I actually have two of them. I have this has been this is not what I mail out, but if I find out when I'm door knocking um, that somebody's moving, I have a vendor book. And most of the time I have a big ad in here, but this is where people can submit a vendor or so I have a vendor book in here of everybody they'd ever need for painting, for this, for that. And I have a big ad in it, but I change out pages, like I said, so when they open up, it's normally like an advertisement for myself. I have gotten so many requests now. The amenity centers at the new homes order these from me. Yeah, so it's been incredible because when people move in, they're like, oh my God, Gail, bring me some more vendor books. It costs me $4 a piece. I wait for the $20 off coupon. And I have that in Canva and I'm happy to send that to you guys so you can recreate it for yourself. But it is well worth it because you're door knocking, and when I say door knock, normally what I do is if I see somebody with, that looks like when someone's getting ready to sell, right? Or if there's an expired, I will go to that. And they'll say, well, we're not going back on the market because I have to, we're going to remodel our bathroom or we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Well, great. I have a vendor book. My husband's actually a retired general contractor. So that has worked wonders for me. And we do a lot of new construction here. And I know in California there's not, but I will tell you, there's an agent that I've been coaching. I do, I've taken a select number of clients for coaching in. Actually, his name is Jason Walter. He's like the number one guy in Sacramento. You guys all know him. You've seen his station, right? He was reporting on the market in Sacramento. So he came, joined me at EXP. He's getting like 5 to 7 buyers a month right now. It's insane, like in escrow. And he's only been doing this for years, following the plan. So Jason and I have been working really closely on that. And so I do want to talk about YouTube because it's been incredible. But these are the mailers I do. Okay, so like there's a couple of different Del Web communities. I don't just do Del Web, but here's the beautiful thing about it. So when you open it up, he's actually my luxury guy that I do. It's stats. Remember, people don't care about you, right? What do they care about? They care about them, right? I get my lender. He's my Bay Area lender. Ali Ghaziani is phenomenal. He pays for half of it. So I'll have some different, this one says 10 spots left. Get a $1,500 staging credit. I always have a call to action. And then, some of them I'll just have all my sales on back. So I do mailers. So every time, and you're not going to do this right away, but when you start getting your fifth sale, when you get your third sale in a neighborhood, if you could claim that neighborhood, because this company only does one agent per neighborhood, you become the local celebrity. That's part of branding. So if you're just taking all the money, spending it, not paying your taxes, you're never ever going, if you're one of those people that just, doesn't have a savings, I get it. Savings is very, very important, but you need to reinvest in yourself. You absolutely have to. So then I started a Facebook page. So I started listening. Now, Mike Sherrard is one of my very good friends, and he's had me speak on his channel a couple times. He goes, Gail, if you're gonna like, I just actually did an expired. I'm like, you want to interview me on expires? I'm like, you're antichrist. You always talk shit about me and everybody that does expires. Why would you want to interview me on that? Well, that's gonna, I think, air next week or the week after. He's like, no, we got to do this. Come on, we're gonna do this. But he said to me a year ago, he goes, I'm gonna challenge you because I had done one, but I just played with it when we were in El Dorado Hills um, and I'd done a couple when I first came out here. He goes, I want you to get serious about it. He goes, and I'm going to give you access, to my course or me or whatever. But you know what? And I told him when he interviewed me on my YouTube channel, it's on his channel. I think it aired like 3 weeks ago. I was so nervous and I was like embarrassed. And I go, oh my God, I was sick to my stomach. My husband's like, what's wrong with you? I go, when he finds out I'm doing everything he told me not to, I go, everything he told me not to, I'm doing the opposite. Now, you have to understand something about me. When I get a book, like right now, I'm reading three amazing books, um, and I always read the back. I read the ending first. If I don't like the ending, I'm not going to waste my time reading the whole book. I know it sounds bizarre, but that's how I've done. That's how I've always done it. So he had, all these videos, 40 videos to watch. I got through three and I go, you know what? I'm not doing this. There's no way. If I spend time, I don't need to be a YouTube expert. I just need to be me. And I don't need to know about, learn everything about SEO and optimization because now YouTube changed everything where all the optimization comes out from what you say. So it doesn't really, your keywords don't mean crap anymore, right? So at the end of the day, I just started doing the videos. And let me tell you, when it's here, like my hair, in about an hour, even though it's wintertime, when I walk outside, it'll be straight and it's usually stuck to me. Okay, so if you see some of my videos, even in my car, I'm like, oh my God, you can see the veins in my head because it's sweating. It's humid here. I'm in Florida. I've never had a good hair day since I moved here. I mean, if I don't go from my bathroom to my computer, then my hair, it's just bad. I need the baseball cap. So you got to get over yourself, right? And that's the biggest thing. So it's like I have an agent that I'm coaching right now. She got her whole YouTube set up 2 months ago. She hasn't done one video. So I'm like, what's going on with that? Well, I just really want to be perfect. I go, you know what? Done's better than perfect all the time. I said, you're never going to be perfect. We weren't born perfect. So your first couple of videos are going to suck. Now, I erased a lot of my sucky videos, and Mike's like, don't ever do that. Well, I did that. He said, never promote a video. I promoted a video, all my listings. Well, guess what happens when I go into a listing and I show them that I have 78, almost 79,000 followers? I talk about modern marketing, right? So when I'm in front of somebody, and I actually just got a call from a builder, and no, I'm sorry, not from a build, from an agent, and he is working with a builder and he's bringing me into it because of my YouTube channel, because of my modern marketing. He wants to talk to me. He was using another agent. So it really helps you. And I'll tell you what, when people tell you, I've watched all your videos, I'm like, oh my God, like I used to do food videos and my husband would be like that. And I was like, I didn't know how to edit him out. So it's like, I just did one for the Nights, the Lights of St. Augustine, and I hired the Grinch to drive us around. So I'm going to be editing, not me editing, I'm giving that to my editor. But it's pretty simple because we think we have to edit everything. No, you can find an editor for $30, okay? You think that you have to be perfect. And honestly, I only shoot between 7 and 12 minutes now because those are the most watched. Nobody's going to watch you even for 10 minutes, right? So, I took my grandkids fishing. I did a little video for me waking them up and get up for them catching the fish. So, showing the lifestyle, showing your personality. But if you want to really get momentum quickly and you want to really start quickly, the best thing for you to do is just do home tours. Home tours, home tours, home tours. And, there's so many opportunities. Just go in there, and here's where I really win. So when I go in to do the home tours, I am best friends with the people that work in the sales office. They get a bottle of Camus, Del Webb. When they see me coming, they love me. They will call me. They have quick move-ins, QMIs. Toll Brothers, I just sold a head guy from Toll Brothers his home in a community that I've been going to do home tours because I don't just go, hey, I'm going to go, I usually bring them like a sandwich at Friday. Bring them something, some cookies, some something, because they're stuck. Why are people selling new homes? Because they could never figure out what we do, right? Not that we're all perfect. They want security, they want the safety. For me, I didn't have time for security and safety. And I will tell you when the only difference between me and you is I needed it. I needed to make, maybe you have a husband or wife that makes money, right? Maybe you don't have to worry about that. But at the end of the day, I'm always pushing myself to like have to make more because people my age get a blown out hip, they get high I don't take anything, right? Except for 10 milligrams of THC every night. No, like, those drinks. I've been taking a couple of those. My son's been here with a bad leg. I'm like, oh my God, that is amazing. But I am in no pills. I'm completely healthy. And it's been one of those things. Well, now I just pushed myself. I did something really crazy. I hired Ed Milet as my personal coach. So, you know, I was in his living room December 3rd with 15 other people, and I've been following him for almost 9 years. And I know everything about his son, his wife, everything. And I just sat in his living room in the $60 million home. And I thought to myself, and I sat, there's like six people in there that wrote books, billionaires, millionaires. Then I felt small. I love feeling small. You know why? It gives me room to grow. And so when at the end of the day, when he said, I'm going to open up three spots, three coaching spots. And if you're interested, talk to my sister. His sister Erica runs everything. And I was like, no, no way. I can't afford that. No way. And then I said, you know what, God, that's just a little detail. Will you find a way that I could work with Ed? If you believe that we should partner together, maybe we could bring bigger things to the kingdom. I would love this opportunity. And so January 18th, I had my first coaching call with Ed. So I'm always trying to put myself, stretch myself where I'm not in a safe zone. I know maybe that's a little wacko. I don't know. But I'll be dead a long time. So if I don't go for it now, luckily all my kids make more money than I do. Well, no, they don't. But they have great jobs. They're engineers, they do a lot of stuff. And I would just challenge you if you're sitting there and you're like, oh shit, it's freaking January. Like right now, I have 10 listings coming on the market. I have my board. I've got one, two, three, four, five, six active, and I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight YouTube buyers that I'm currently working with. So it's like if you don't have a pipeline and you want to know how to get started, go out. I bought a second DJI Osmo pocket thing. It's super easy. I just bought a second one because I keep one. I just bought a teleprompter with a 15-inch screen because I need a 54-point font. So if you want to start, the best time to start is now. So the interesting thing is, we always think we missed the boat. Like that was the one question that they asked Brent on the stage. They had the legacy of the founders at EXP Miami. And he's like, when we started EXP, people thought we were a laundry detergent. It was hard. Nobody knew who EXP was. This is the prime time for education. We have so many great things. And I know everybody here is not EXP, but I'm saying the reason I'm saying this because this is the prime time right now. I want you to do a SWOT analysis, look at your competition, type in Roseville, type in, Sierra Oaks, type in Southern California. Who is your competition? Then just look at it. Look how many videos they're putting out per month. Okay, the key to really get started, and then don't look at them again because you need to focus. Just like you don't want to like look at to the left to the right. Just focus on you and where you're going. Look at your goal point. And then once you look at it, if they're putting out one a month, you have to do three a week. Three a week. I'm actually scheduling 2 days now to shoot. I'm gonna be recording like five a week right now. So and it'll take me about 8 hours. So I don't know. Do you have any questions other than
Yeah. So if there's any
yeah,
questions, you guys can put them in the chat. I just want to kind of go back to a couple of things that you said. Done is better than perfect. And so
yeah,
the best time to start anything is yesterday. The second best time is now. And get in motion, get in action, right? So that was one thing. You said it multiple times. The business that you have and that you do, you have not purchased leads, period. You are not purchasing
never.
leads, and your business focus has been on what the most successful real estate agent's business focus is, and that is marketing and branding. And it's not the
Yep.
company that's the brand, you're the brand. And so
Yep.
you have built a brand around yourself that is like, listen, this is the greatest thing for everybody that's on this call. Your brand is not going to be Gail's brand because there's only one Gail. Like John, your brand is going to be John's brand. Tom's brand is going to be Tom's brand. Michelle's brand is going to be Michelle's brand. It's about who you are, being all of who you are, but you got to let people see you. Number one, which means you got to be out with the
Right.
people. And then number two, if you're going to take on like the free marketing that's available to everyone and do that through the use of video, it
Yeah.
is that done is better than perfect, right? And so recap, what are the most effective ones to do? Home tours, get out and do home tours, make them fun. And then the second thing is that people love having, one-sided relationships with people they don't actually know. I did hear that most YouTube content is actually viewed through the living room television, not through cell phones. So think
Yeah.
about that for a minute. If you're going to utilize YouTube as a platform, you are like a movie on someone's TV. You're not a social media thing that someone's scrolling on their phone. And so you are immediately now on a pedestal of sorts. You've positioned yourself as an authority, and it doesn't matter how much experience you have or you don't have, people buy people. Right. And so when they get an
Right.
experience of you, whether that's you with your grandkids or you out doing something fun or you in a home tour, like people are buying you. Of course, you want to position yourself as an industry expert, but it's a balance of both things. And so I think the, really key thing that you mentioned for everybody to take note of is like, how are you building your personal brand? What is the exposure so that people are having an experience of you? And then you did say something really important, which was running your business like a business. And most real estate agents do not do that. They sell real estate like a salesperson, and very few run their business like a business. And so when you are a real
Mhm.
estate salesperson running your business like a business, the number one thing that you're looking at is where am I investing in the business to create more business, right? And the return on that. And it's not buying leads. It is the marketing that you're doing so that you get a larger footprint of people. And then you've got and can look on a board of pipelines of things that are coming, things that are going, and things that are on the way out, right? And it's that continuity. So real estate doesn't have to be a roller coaster experience for an agent. Yet most agents aren't in an experience of steady, consistent business because there's things that are important to do on a steady and consistent basis to make sure that they've got steady and consistent business. And I think there's just so much to learn from what you've shared, right? And what you've demonstrated, right? The ability to like literally pick up, move across the country where nobody knows you, and in the last 2 years be doing that much business without ever touching or buying a lead. And then who am I going to learn from next?
Right.
right? Always looking to up level. So you keep putting yourselves in rooms of people that have expanded further than where you're at. So another rule of thumb, like where can I be the smallest fish in the room or a smaller fish in the room so that I'm continually in an environment where I'm going to up level and grow. And then when it comes down to it, doing things before you're ready. Like everything that you've talked about, you've done before you're ready. Like you just ripped off the band-aid and went. It wasn't like I'm getting ready to get 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 ready. No, like here's what there is to do. I'm not ready. I'm doing it anyway. And you've done it authentically you and continue to learn and refine as you go. And so like if someone goes, oh well, there's one you and people are gonna buy the people that resonate with you are gonna buy you and they're gonna work with you. And that's true for every single person on this call. And so are people having an experience of you where you can do that? So if there's any, I'm happy to take any questions.
Casey, I want to
Yeah.
touch on something.
Yeah.
You're so right because when I looked at my area, oh my gosh, there was like three, four people dominating on YouTube, and I was like, and I just started to like, self-doubt, self-doubt, self-doubt. Well, how are you gonna do it? Well, I was just out of one of those, real producer things that I hate going to, um, and the woman that I was so afraid of came up to me. Oh my God, you're Gail DeMarco. You're YouTube. How are you doing? And her name is Frances, beautiful gal. And I was like, you know what? Because your mind is that drunk monkey on your back. And like you said something really important because people say, what do you do? Like when you meet them, well, what kind of work do you do? I just tell people I own a business. Oh, really? What kind of business is it? It's real estate. I said it just happens to be in real estate. I'm basically an objection handler. That's what I do, because people have so many. But I want you to think about this. What Casey said is so important because if you're not investing in yourself and in your business, like when I do this mailer, right? 450 homes, guess how much that cost me? The most expensive thing was the cover shot, right? $150 for the cover shot. And then I get my lender to split half of it. It cost me $230 a month. And I've done 36 transactions in that neighborhood. So don't think about the big picture always, right? Think about and be ready to pivot but don't if it's not working in 6 months, mailers take 6 months. This takes 3 months. This one right here, my very first month, I got two listings, and there's only 178 homes in this neighborhood. 178 homes. So, and I'm actually getting ready to, put this one on, put it on the market. So it doesn't have to be a big neighborhood, right? So it's think about that. How much would you pay for Zillow leads? $3,000 and each lead is $500 a piece and you have to sleep with it and put it by the shower. So it's like, those days are over and they're all flex teams right now. But you know, if I don't know where you guys are at, Anthony, wake up. I don't know where you're at in your journey. I'm kidding. If if you absolutely need anything, I'm an open book. Anybody who works with Casey, or comes to her meetings, I will do anything for you. I'm not one of those people that, I'm a closed book. If it's mine, it's yours. You know what? Because God gave it to me, and it. If you keep everything close to your, like this is how your whole life is going to be. I wouldn't have what I have, and believe me, it's not that I want more. What I want more of is time. My most precious commodity is time. And Casey, I mean, I think we can relate to that, right? Because we don't know, and if I can't bless people around me and make a difference, what the fuck am I here for? This is my, why? I don't need to die with a bag of money, right? My kids don't need my money. Why am I doing this? I really have, in my darkest moments where, my mom just 3 months ago. I mean, 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I had to wake her up, put her in the shower. It's just like crazy stuff. I'm crying to God, why am I here? She wanted to kill herself. I wanted to kill myself. I go, why don't we just do a double suicide? You go first. I was just like, but it was like one of those things where I'm like, God, why am I here? I am here to make a difference, to help agents that are in dark places. It doesn't have to be with your parent, doesn't have to be financially, but it does help. If you're financially struggling, that we can all outwork our financial problems, people. We have the greatest gift without starting an OnlyFans club, right? So it's like we can do real estate and make an incredible amount. How did I make over 1 million? Well, after I paid for marketing, how did I make over $900,000 this year? My second year here, right? This is real. It's really simple math. We make it overcomplicated, and we don't work. People don't show up. I still woke up at 6:30 this morning. I still go to the gym, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 a.m. It took me 14 years to get down to my goal. I've been on a diet for 14 years. 14 years, right? And I finally hit my goal. Finally hit my goal right before, December 19th, I hit my goal. So, but it was one of those things. I'm married to a chef. So, anyway, what I'm just saying is, I really love and appreciate you guys. We're in real estate. We're in a tough market. We're in a tough business, but there's always there's always two doors open, but what do? We look for the closed door, or we look for the back door. I always want to go in the front door.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
being with us and sharing so freely. I know my next opportunity to see you, and actually anyone that's on this call's next opportunity to see you, is going to be in March in Cabo for one of the most incredible real estate events of the year. Oh my goodness.
I'll see you there. I just
Yes,
realized I didn't have a room. I just texted James. I got everybody else rooms. Oh my guess,
like
but
the who's who of who's in real estate and who's going to be growing. And
I'm going. Yes, I
at
can't
that
wait to
event
see
this
you.
year. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to seeing you. Been at that event every year for the last 7 years, which has been incredible, and it is by far a highlight of the year. So I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing you there in person
Yes.
and hearing you speak. For those of
I'm
you that
not
want to catch
speaking, am I?
are you? Well,
I
I
don't
thought
think
I saw you
so.
somewhere. Okay, I thought I
Don't
saw
do
you
that to
somewhere.
me.
Okay.
Oh,
Um,
no.
so thank you again for everything that
Okay.
you contributed today. The recording will be on email for anyone that's on the email list. And for those of you that are not on the email list, you can go to empirebuilders.pro/resources under Free Friday Coaching Call and access it through the YouTube channel. Gail, thank you for being you and have a
I
great
love
day.
you guys. I love you
I
so
love
much,
you.
Casey, and anything I could do to be around you. And what an incredible group. Just seeing Tom and Mark and Anthony. I'm like, my son's name's Anthony. I got to pick on you. I'll talk to you later. Bye,
All
guys.
right, make
God
it a great
bless.
day. Enjoy the rest of your vacation.
Thank you.
Bye.